You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, our very own Anthony Saviello shares how just one swing of a golf club could help raise money for first responders' families.
Also, Pittsburgh State hopes to address a growing need in the area by providing autism evaluations for young children.
And we've got ourselves a stray shower out there. The rest of us dry and all of us hot and sunny today. Look at that forecast. Get you out the door coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Well, good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Elise Noe.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's just after 7 a.m. on this Friday morning.
Oh, Friday.
Hooray, it's Friday.
Yeah.
Oh boy, talk about this week doesn't seem as though it was as long as last week, but it did seem to go by kind of slowly.
See, I'm on the other side of that. I feel like it flew by this week.
Interesting.
So, I mean, maybe it's like the hot temperatures.
Well, time's fun when you're having flies.
Oh, well, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Moving on. We often hear stories of first responders risking their lives to make the places we live safer. Now, unfortunately, the risk often pays a heavy price.
As KOAM's Anthony Saviello explains, there are those in this world who try to support the families of those who have given everything to protect their community. And sometimes it's as simple as swinging a golf club.
I'm gonna try and tap that into the hole right there.
Okay. It's a little off.
Not bad.
It's okay.
It's a little off.
Yeah.
Erica Johnson's golf skills may not be that of the pro level, but she's not here to swing a club. Erica is serving as an ambassador for the First Responders Children's Foundation, the charity benefited by the day's tournament. A charity meant to help the families and children of those who have been injured or killed in the line of duty. Something that for her hits close to home.
It was all, it was all crazy. Didn't eat at all that whole time. And then we went to bed eventually, sometime like in the late night, early morning. And then they called us like right at like 6 or 7 a.m. and they were like, we don't think he's going to make it to lunch.
Erica's father was diagnosed with angiosarcoma in 2021. The cancer developing from the chemicals he inhaled while serving after the 9/11 attacks.
And so I took my fingers and like put it on his wrist and I was like feeling his heartbeat. And I just thought I was just thinking, it's crazy that I'm never going to feel this heartbeat again, and it's going to, once it stops, that's it.
Yeah.
And it was just, a really crazy experience knowing that, the person who taught me, how to do that, he's not going to have one.
He died on the eve of the 20th anniversary.
Do you think of your dad as a hero?
Yes. I mean, and I said in the speech, if he knew that he was going to die from it, then he would do it anyway. And it would be that, 9/11 or any other disaster. I mean, because he knew that it was the right thing to do.
Thanks to the foundation that she now represents, Erica now studies interior design at Missouri State University, the very school her dad taught at.
And when everybody was like, what's your backup college? I said, there is no backup college. I want to go to Missouri State.
Though her father is gone, memories of him still live on.
My dad loved SpongeBob. Huge. He was a big guy, but he was very serious, and people were really intimidated by him because he just looked so serious. Man loved SpongeBob. Yeah. And would sit down and eat breakfast and just watch cartoons.
And the lessons he taught her have brought her to where she is today.
And I try to be a better person because of him, and I try to know that, this is where he would want me to be, and I think it's really important to know that he always wanted to do what was best.
In Carthage, Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Oh my gosh, that was it. That was it.
That's awesome.
Well, yesterday's tournament raised an estimated $10,000 for the First Responders Children's Foundation.
Certainly a worthy cause, and it's something that a lot of folks don't take into account. Now, we know from 9/11, the chemicals, debris, everything that these guys inhaled, but this comes even in our area with fires. Toxic things burn in homes and businesses, and they put themselves in harm's way every day.
They take care of us, so it's time now to take care of them too, and we can.
It certainly is. We've got ourselves ourselves another hot day. Temperatures once again 10 to 15 degrees above normal. We are starting that way almost as well. Quick look outside. Our camera downtown Pittsburgh looks pretty good. Looks great from our camera at 7th and Rangeline too. Just take a look. We've got these clouds. Some of these are actually associated with a shower that's beginning to kind of fall apart as it rolls into parts of Berry County. We'll show you that in just a moment. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline in Joplin looking good. Same from the KDOT camera. Did I say KDOT? I meant MoDOT camera in Joplin. This is the KDOT camera in Kansas at 69 and East 520th Avenue. So here's the Skywatch Storm Tracker. Here is what we have got out here. We've got this. This is really not working. I've got to figure this out. Okay, well, we've got this shower now starting to push into parts eventually of Berry County into southern Lawrence County, so around Aurora, parts of US 60. And we've got a little shower around the Diamond area that's flared up. Not much out there, and as you can see, this one, it flared up, and as quickly as it flared up, it is beginning to die out, and that'll be the case. We are looking at hot and dry conditions. Now, yesterday, we had that possibility of a stray shower or storm out west, but that possibility has been shifted off to our southwest. So we're just going to be hot, dry, and breezy. We'll have those southwest winds occasionally gusting upwards of 20 to 25 miles an hour. Take a look at this temperature gap here. We're at 67 in Joplin, 58 in Pittsburgh. And I mean, this isn't that far of a drive from point A to point B, and that's a pretty big temperature gap. And that's how it is across the region. We've got mid 50s all the way up to the mid to upper 60s. Either way paint it though, we're all above normal, and that's where we're heading today. Sunny skies, upper 80s, maybe a couple of low 90-degree readings, and of course those gusty southwest winds. It'll be breezy again tomorrow. We could even tie or break record highs on Saturday before a cold front turns everything upside down. Details on that in just a few more minutes. Elise?
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, authorities have a person in custody in connection with a hatchet attack in a Pittsburgh area park. Now, it happened Wednesday afternoon at the 23rd Street Bike Park. Witnesses say 32-year-old Ashley Marie Wilson struck a 47-year-old woman in the neck with a hatchet following an argument. Now, the victim, whose identity has not been released, was found deep in the woods with help from the Pittsburgh Police drone unit. She was taken to the hospital and treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Wilson is being held without bond and facing charges of felony aggravated battery. We'll have more details as they become available on our website, KOAMNewsNow.com. And to be the first to see breaking news, weather, and sports, you can download the KOAM News app. It's available free of charge in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. Just search for the KOAM News app. Well, Pittsburgh State University will begin to provide autism evaluations for children ages 1 through 6. They hope to address the need for this service in the area. KOAM's Melissa Alexis has more.
This will provide another avenue for families to access an autism evaluation.
Pitt State University is planning to provide autism evaluations for children. They want to help fill the demand for this kind of service in the community.
Several hours away to obtain a diagnostic. And so the places in this area that do provide diagnostic services have wait lists that are over 100 kids long.
One of the methods they plan to use for their evaluations is through play and activities.
A lot of assessment booklets and kits. We'll have them come in for 2 days of assessments. So perhaps coming in on a Monday morning where they do some parent interviews, and then we'll do some assessments with the child.
This will help children in need of the service and will also benefit Pitt State students by providing them with hands-on learning experience with psychology before they enter their careers.
Offers them an opportunity to learn how to engage with children and families who are affected by autism, and just really gives them a lot of skills and makes them more well-rounded to go out as a professional into the field.
Their experiences, how well they learn how to complete the assessments and collect data, how well they are able to interact with families and do some of those different parts of the evaluation process.
This evaluation is meant to help families on their journeys to getting their child a full diagnostic confirmed by a pediatrician. Reporting in Pittsburgh, Melissa Alexis, KOAM News.
They hope to begin providing this service by 2025, and the project and necessary materials will be purchased through the help of a grant. And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, Hurricane Milton has moved on, and Florida residents are now assessing the damage left behind. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Columbus, Kansas ahead of Columbus Days. Topping Nation Watch this morning. Canada's TD Bank will be forking over a hefty sum related to money laundering charges. TD Bank will be paying $3 billion in fines and other penalties as part of a settlement with U.S. regulators and prosecutors. Now, the fine is for charges the bank failed to properly monitor money laundering by drug cartels. As part of the agreement, TD Bank is accepting limits on its growth in the U.S. Well, rescuers save a man off the Florida coast with only a cooler keeping him afloat. Video shows a U.S. Coast Guard air crew flying in to save a man who was floating 30 miles off the coast in the Gulf of Mexico on Thursday following Hurricane Milton. The man was on a fishing vessel that became disabled on Wednesday. He was able to contact the Coast Guard before Milton made landfall, but lost contact. The Coast Guard eventually spotted him floating on top of a cooler. Rescuers were able to airlift him to safety. Well, parts of Florida still sifting through debris and drying out after getting slammed by Hurricane Milton this week. The storm knocking out power to millions in flooding low-lying areas. Fox News correspondent Rebecca Castor has the story.
Water rescues continue in low-lying areas as the state starts assessing the damage from Hurricane Milton.
Oh my gosh.
Some Floridians returning home Thursday to find their houses demolished and unlivable after Hurricane Milton pummeled the state as a Category 3 hurricane. Winds over 100 miles per hour, ripping the roofs off homes, knocking down trees, power lines, and leaving behind a path of devastation.
This is home and it's gone. Home is gone. So home ain't home no more.
Multiple deaths have been reported, and that number could keep rising as rescue efforts continue in flooded low-lying areas. More than 700 rescues took place in Hillsborough County alone.
Hey, let me spin around.
This includes a 14-year-old boy who was clinging to a broken fence, picked up by the sheriff's office. And the shocking rescue of a man left clinging to an ice chest in the waters off the Gulf of Mexico by the Coast Guard. They say the man was on board a fishing boat when he became stranded at sea overnight as Milton moved inland.
This is a very fluid situation. We are just beginning damage assessment.
Meanwhile, federal officials continue reassuring the public funds are available to help storm victims. This includes cash to help those hit hard by tornadoes triggered by Milton, though officials warned more money would be needed to help with long-term recovery efforts.
We will need additional funds, and we implore Congress, when it returns, to in fact fund FEMA as is needed.
Along with water rescues, crews are still working to restore power to more than 2 million people in the dark. In St. Petersburg, Florida, Rebecca Castor, Fox News.
And that's a look at some of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we got some clouds out there for some of us associated with a few isolated showers on the Missouri side of things this morning. Those will clear out. We will heat up. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. And a little later, restoration experts are working to preserve a century-old silent mystery. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. You know, 2.5 minutes is a really long time in the TV world. And if you had any idea what transpires in 2.5 minutes behind the scenes, you'd know why we're always so happy and giddy and thrilled, right? No, well, you should be happy and giddy and thrilled, and hopefully you are at home as well because it is Friday. It is also now 7:18 on this Friday morning. Skywatch Storm Tracker, we've got a few light showers beginning to break up now around Monette, stretching to Aurora and up US 60 off toward Clever. And then back to the west, we've got this little shower now on the southeast side of Diamond. These will not last long, unfortunately. I know that's not the news you wanted to hear, but that is the news. You can see where they kind of just flared up, and they're starting to flare right back down out there, unfortunately. And this activity is not really happening. It's just a little radar blob there. On the future track, no rain out there. We talked about rain chances out west today, but that's been shifted off to our south and west. So we will be hot, dry, and breezy. Winds will be gusting out of the southwest upwards of 20 to 25 miles an hour. We'll have a few clouds overnight tonight, and into our Saturday will be partly cloudy, hotter and breezy again. Southwest winds still gusting 20-25 miles an hour, but tomorrow we could tie or even break some records out there with our high temperatures, as we're going about 20, almost 25 degrees above normal in some cases. Then Sunday comes, and Sunday brings us a cold front early in the morning. Now, initially, the first thing we'll notice is the winds are going to shift out of the north. The second thing is we're going to be a little slower to warm up on Sunday. It'll be a little cooler by noon instead of being really hot by noon. With the north winds and that cold front, some of our northern counties may only make the upper 70s, but a good chunk of us are going to go into the low to mid 80s. And then it's going to get just downright cold after that. We'll talk about that in just a second. First, live look from our camera, 7th and Range Line. Some of the clouds from those showers out there. 67 in Joplin right now, but otherwise dry. And we've got that wide range of temperatures. And this one is just a great example. 59 Pittsburgh, 67 Joplin, 55 in Miami. Short drive either way here, and some pretty big temperature differences, but all of us sitting above normal. Sunny skies, breezy, upper 50s to start, near 80 degrees by 11 o'clock. Our average high is right here. We should stop warming at 10 a.m. We will not. As we go back into the upper 80s today, again, a couple of low 90s will be possible out there. We'll have a few clouds later this evening and into the overnight, still staying 10 some odd degrees above normal. So we go into the low 60s. Then tomorrow, as I mentioned, low, maybe even mid 90s. Low to mid 80s on Sunday. Check this out though, right about where we should be Sunday night. Well below where we should be though Monday night. Upper 30s and low 40s, highs only into the upper 60s, mid 60s on Tuesday. How about that? Then we warm right back up again, back to the low 80s toward the end of the week. But we have another cold front. This is the one we've been talking about for a couple of weeks now. It's still showing up out there. Not only does it cool things down, it also brings us some better rain chances. Not significantly better, but it's better than what we've seen here lately. That's a check of your forecast. We are back with more right after this. Well, fans of Sherlock Holmes are in for a treat as restoration experts have pieced together a 100-year-old silent mystery.
It's the last work of its kind to be digitally transformed.
Kirsty Shanks has had her hands on loads of classic films over the years from the stacks of archives at the British Film Institute. But inspecting the latest reel has taken some true detective work.
Sherlock has been the most challenging restoration I've worked on, mainly because of the scale.
She's part of a conservation team reviving Sherlock Holmes, restoring a century-old silent film series following the adventures of the famous fictional detective.
And they're the last silent Sherlock-related works to be restored. All of the other surviving ones have already been done.
Experts are transforming 20 hours of footage with Sherlockian methods, given its age.
A lot of films over the years have decomposed into powdery, sticky, solid messes. And despite all the damage, it is in pretty good condition.
You know, most of what restoration is...
Ben Thompson is in charge of image quality.
So this is the section just before Waterloo Station.
Digitally erasing marks from decades of wear and tear and using software to match the original filmmaker's use of color.
I probably spent 3 days on it. One shot. 10 seconds.
A meticulous task that proves there's nothing elementary about bringing Sherlock Holmes back to life.
That is cool.
Absolutely.
That is so, and I mean, to think about how old that movie is.
Sure, yeah.
It's impressive. I remember when they restored A Trip to the Moon. And released that. They put it on YouTube for a while. You can watch it. It's a very short film, very interesting perceptions, but it's like from the late 1800s, the 1890s. And it's incredible to see because it's their perception of the moon, what it'd be like to get there. Just fascinating. So if you haven't seen that, go check it out.
Absolutely. Well, coming up, a U.S. Senator from Oklahoma responds to reports of flag vandalism in Miami.
And we've got ourselves a hot and sunny day out there. Look at that forecast. Look, there's a bear in the clouds. We'll have another look at your forecast when we come back.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAL Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:29. I'm Elise Snowy. Voters in Pittsburgh had the opportunity to meet with candidates one-on-one yesterday ahead of the election. Those on the ballot running for local and state office came together for a nonpartisan event hosted by the Pitt State Education Association. Now, attendees were encouraged to ask candidates questions and learn about their policies. Nearly 200 students turned out for the annual Keys Summit at Pitt State. This one-day event designed to inspire and empower young adults featured motivational speaking, hands-on workshops, a career expo, and an elevator pitch competition. Event organizers say they hope the event inspires young adults to find a future in Kansas.
Like they feel inspired, number one, and really motivated to go back to school. But also, I think the number one thing that we want to create in this opportunity is them to be aware of the opportunities that are here in Kansas, whether that be educationally or occupationally. We have kids that are going to go through that traditional college pathway, whether that's at a community and tech college or if it's going to be a four-year college.
Elijah Dormius, the founder of the I Am Foundation, delivered the keynote address about overcoming adversity and building a bright future. Well, cast members from the hit movie Napoleon Dynamite made a stop in Miami, Oklahoma last night. A film screening and a question and answer panel took place at the Coleman Theater. Now, the interactive event happened around the 20th anniversary of the film, which made for a night of celebration, nostalgia, and laughter.
We all thought it was going to be like a quirky indie film that only like nerdy film people would get, but everybody seemed to love it. Teenagers, kids, parents, grandparents. And so we're just super excited that all these years later, we feel like this movie can still speak to all those different generations. So let's keep the love going.
Efren Ramirez visited us in the KOAM studio yesterday morning, and you can see his interview on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Now here's Chris with a quick look at your forecast.
Yeah, so you may have noticed before the break we mentioned that there was a cloud looks like a bear. Now it looks like a dog, and it's right here on our camera downtown Pittsburgh. See, he's barking at something. It looks nice. Got a great sunrise, few clouds out there. Same from our camera at 7th and Rangeline, although we cannot see the dog cloud from this particular perspective. Still some nice lighting out there. We've got a few showers as well. MoDOT camera 20th and Rangeline showing us, again, some clouds out there. And we've got a good shot from the KDOT camera at 69 East 520th Avenue. There was something flying around. If it's a bee, I'm going to have to evacuate the building. All right, Skywatch Storm Tracker. We have some showers out there still around the Monette area, stretching back just southeast of Diamond and then off to the east all the way down to the south of Clever. And nothing major out there, but at least it's a little bit of light rain for now it's bothering Elise. See, I told you there's something flying around out here, and I can't tell what it is. There it goes. I think it's a bee. I'm sure it is. That's our luck. That's what we're looking at with those showers. They'll be on their way out. Future tracks showing us hot and sunny and dry conditions. We're another 10, 15 degrees above average for us today. And we'll have those southwest winds occasionally gusting upwards of 20. Quick look at temperatures around the region. We've got a wide spectrum here from the low mid 50s all the way into the upper 60s across the area. But all of us still above normal. Our highs today going into the upper 80s, maybe even a couple of low 90s with sunny skies out there. We could potentially tie or even break record highs tomorrow, and then a cold front comes in Sunday, and it's really going to do a complete flip on our temperatures. Details in just a few more minutes. All
right, thanks, Chris. We'll have an update on a story we first told you about last month. 15 flags placed by the American Legion post in Miami were vandalized. KOAM's Lonnie Walton found that since then, many have stepped in to help.
Senator Langford got wind of it, and he decided, you know what? He said, I want to be part of that, but I don't just want to send them a flag. So he brought us 3 flags that flew over the U.S. Capitol.
Ron Horn is a member of the American Legion 147. He says he could hardly believe his eyes when the United States Senator James Lanford visited him regarding the torn flags he found on 9/11.
It was awesome. I really respected him doing that. He came down just to be part of us. He went through our museum. I think it bothered him as much as it bothered us.
The flags from the senator are in addition to the donation from the community that paid to replace all the flags. Post Commander Chris Snyder says the senator had a firm statement for the people of Oklahoma.
His exact words to me was, "We're going to show the nation that you can't do this to our flags in Oklahoma."
The American Legion members are very thankful for the support they receive throughout the community and the world. But for the individuals responsible, they say they have a message.
We'd like to take him through the museum, take him on one of our funerals and watch us present that flag to a family member.
Why do you want to hurt the veterans of this county? You know, across the state, you know, across the nation. Why?
Reporting in Miami, I'm Lonnie Walton, KOAM News.
Lonnie reached out to the Miami Police Department for an update in the case. They told him the investigation into the vandalized flags is ongoing. And that's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. Shannon Becker joins us in the studio with his big 3 news stories of the week. We'll be right back, but first, here's a live look from Columbus, Kansas, ahead of Columbus Days. Welcome back. We've got Shannon Becker in the studio with his big 3 news stories of the week. Happy Friday, Shannon.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. Let's take a look at the big 3 live and local stories of the week. This week, a story we've covered since the day it occurred. We've told you first about a fatal hit and run crash just the western edge of Galena in August of last year. So now more stories are coming out of the evidence that the Kansas Highway Patrol has built a case against a Joplin boy and his father, a doctor in Joplin. The probable cause affidavit was actually released this last week, and you can see it on our website, KOAM News Now. Read for yourself the digital timeline and the digital evidence that shows GPS locations of the son and the father, and that they returned to the Kansas crash scene where Gary LaTurner, 60, was killed in a hit and run.
Heartbreaking.
More details on our website. Our number 2 story, Joplin News First. Newton County coroner picking up the body of this lady who was killed in a motorcycle crash. This last about 3 weeks ago. Now the man who is operating that motorcycle is charged with felony DWI causing a death. Of course, it was someone that was on his motorcycle, which is very tragic. Evidence has finally come out. They've been able to release it, and they've now charged the man. He was driving about 77 miles an hour at the time of the crash, which on South Main Street,
extremely dangerous.
Very, very fast. And also he was registered as a drunk driver. More details on our website. Our number 1 story, 2 school buses collide and there's a car in between them. This is one of the most graphic crashes I've ever seen, and no one was hurt. Now that car there was being towed by a bus, if that makes sense. So these 2 buses were brand new. They were transporting them to a new district, right?
So there are no kids on the bus.
No kids, no name on the bus even. And they're towing a car, so when they deliver the buses, they hop in their car and they drive back to Oklahoma, right? So anyway, there was a crash. I know, there's a crash in the other lanes, and the first bus stopped really abruptly. And then the second bus slammed into it.
And these were 2 buses going to the same school district?
Yes, that were brand new buses, like we said. So they didn't have a way to get home, obviously, and everything was all crashed. But of course, like I said, no one was injured, but that was quite an ordeal this last week. Our bonus story of the week, you've got to get to Columbus this weekend. It's Columbus Days, and the hot air balloons, well, they'll do 3 regattas, and tonight, the really cool thing is, this is the balloon glow. They do it about dusk, dark tonight. And probably usually about 10 balloons. And then they yell at certain times, they hit off a horn, and then they all go back and forth.
Oh, how fun.
It's so awesome. It's so awesome. And the KOAM Roadshow will be doing the news there today. So you have to get to Columbus Days. It's going to be, they'll do that tonight, and then Saturday and Sunday morning they fly off, and then Saturday afternoon they fly off. So that's our bonus story of the week.
Lots of opportunities there to go see some beautiful hot air balloons. Well, Shannon, thanks so much for being with us this morning. Always happy to have you. Stick around. We're back with more right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. 7:42 coming up on 7:43 on this Friday morning. Starting with the Skywatch Storm Tracker, we have these light showers in the southern portions of our area, stretching from just southeast of Diamond along 60 toward Monette, south of Aurora now, down toward the community of Jenkins and north of Purdy. Not much out there, but this activity is continuing to push off to the south and east, just a few little flare-up showers. Outside of that, we are going to be hot and dry as we head into the afternoon. We were hoping for maybe a stray shower or storm out west, but that chance has shifted off to our southwest. And we'll have gusty southwest winds, speaking of the southwest, pushing 20, maybe 25 miles an hour at times. And our temperatures today, once again, 10, 15 degrees above normal. As we head into our Saturday, we'll have partly cloudy skies. The winds return, the southwest winds gusting 20, 25 miles an hour. And our temperatures tomorrow, we could tie or break some record highs as we're looking to go into the low to mid 90s for some of us on our Saturday. Then Sunday rolls in and it brings a cold front. You can see it very clearly here. And initially, the biggest thing we'll notice is, well, two things really. One, the north winds. Two, we're going to see temperatures slower to warm. So see, we're in the low 70s, even some upper 60s by noon. Some of our northern communities are probably only going to make the upper 70s on Sunday, which is a little bit better. Others, though, I think the majority of us are still looking at low to mid 80s out there for our highs on our Sunday. Then it's going to get downright cold compared to where we've been here lately. We're sitting at 67 in Joplin, mostly cloudy skies, but making for a really pretty sunrise out there this morning. Heading across the region, temperatures, it's a wide range. Check this out too. Just Miami to Joplin, 52 to 67, 57 in Pittsburgh. So it's still above normal across the region, but we've got a wide range of temperatures out there this morning. As we get our day started, most of us upper 60s by 8, sunny skies, breezy near 80 by 11 o'clock this morning. And again, ahead of highs into the mid upper 80s, maybe even a couple of low 90-degree readings out there. We'll have a few clouds as we head into the evening and eventually into the overnight hours, and still above normal there as well, of course, back into the low 60s. Tomorrow, as I mentioned, low mid 90s will be possible. Then we get a little better on Sunday, low Sunday night, relatively close to normal, upper 40s. That's going to feel cold, though, compared to where we have been. And if that's not cold enough for those of you at home who like it, take a look at this. Upper 30s, low 40s. As we head into Monday night, upper 60s. So now we're dropping below normal for Monday and Tuesday, a little closer to average Wednesday, and we start heating up as we head into the second half of next week. However, we're still watching that cold front next weekend. It's been showing up for a while. It looks to bring us some at least slightly better shower and thunderstorm chances, and it will also take our temperatures down about 20 degrees again, back into the upper 60s by Sunday. That is a check of your forecast. Now here's Elise with Consumer Watch.
All right, thanks, Chris. Well, Social Security recipients can expect a smaller cost of living boost. Starting in January, millions who get Social Security payments will now get a 2.5% cost of living increase in their monthly checks. Now that translates into an average increase of more than $50 every month. In 2024, Social Security recipients got a 3.2% increase in their benefits. That's compared to a historic 8.7% increase in 2023 thanks to inflation. Well, mortgage rates climbed to the highest level in more than a month. The average rate on the 30-year fixed mortgage rose to 6.32% according to Freddie Mac. Now it was 6.12% a week ago. That was the largest weekly increase in around 6 months. Many would-be buyers and sellers are holding out to see if rates fall further. Currently, about 80% of mortgage holders have a rate below 5%, according to a Zillow survey. And it's no secret Americans spend a lot of time on their cell phones. New research says the amount of time the average American spends scrolling, streaming, and binging on devices translates into 3 days a month or 36 days a year. Members of Gen Z reported feeling like they lose closer to 5 days a month. Now, 42% of the people surveyed said they felt like they were consuming too much media, and a little more than a third reporting feeling their mood was often negatively affected by something they saw on social media. And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. Well, move over DoorDash and Uber Eats. There's a new food delivery service at the University of Minnesota, and this one doesn't need a driver.
Derek James shows us how a roving robot is satisfying students' cravings.
curiosity on campus as students and staff get their first robot deliveries.
Just some Chinese food.
The robots are more than a novelty, they serve a purpose.
We have a number of locations on campus that just don't have great accessibility to food. And when students and faculty and staff are on campus, they want to be able to have food in between tight class schedules.
The robots, designed and operated by Starship Technologies, currently deliver from Panda Express, Starbucks, and Herbert & Gerbert for $2.49 plus a 10% delivery fee. Anyone on campus can use the Starship Food Delivery app to order food and have it delivered.
You can drop a pin anywhere that you would like to get your delivery.
Users can follow the robot's location through the app after they place an order and use it to unlock the compartment with their food.
Tell me about the technology that's working here.
Plenty of sensors and cameras all the way around, extremely accurate. Of course, we have GPS.
The robots use machine learning and AI to cross streets, make it up curbs, and avoid obstacles. They're able to run at night and in rain or snow.
How much can it handle with the snow tires?
I think we quote somewhere around 4 or 5 inches of snow.
With it being the first day, the Starships are still learning.
I would have liked it if I didn't have to walk and made it, but maybe they'll improve the technology for next time.
With 11 robots to start, they had to temporarily pause some early orders to keep up. More robots will roll out by the end of the week to handle student demand.
They're excited. They're happy about what the robots will mean for them as far as convenience, and we're really excited to see how well this will do.
Well, the robots are part of a 1-year pilot program approved by the Minneapolis City Council.
Well, certainly they don't look like Terminators, which
No.
is good, nor do they look like the robots out of Short Circuit. You know, the ones that they had the lasers, they were built by the military.
They're cute.
They are.
Yeah.
They are. And as you mentioned, if something happens to it, since you can track it, you'll know if something's wrong when it just stops somewhere.
Yeah. So
Neat
if that was
service,
me,
though.
I'd be looking at it the whole time, just making
Just
sure
watching.
no one stole
Just
my
go out and
food.
find it and follow it
Right,
back to your
exactly.
place. Well, we got a couple of showers out there still, parts of Newton, Berry, and Lawrence counties. Nothing too crazy, but hey, a little bit of something is better than a lot of nothing, and that's what we're seeing here. So north of Jenkins, south of Aurora, stretching back toward Monette, north of Purdy, and back to the west now along 60, just to the east of Neosho. So again, not much out there, nor are we expecting really anything else, to be perfectly honest with you. Our chance of a shower storm out west has now moved off to our southwest, and so we are looking to be hot, dry, breezy today. Temperatures going into the upper 80s, maybe even some low 90s out there, and southwest winds gusting upwards of 20-25. Partly cloudy skies Saturday. The winds pick up again by Saturday afternoon, again out of the southwest at gusts to 20-25 miles an hour out there. Tomorrow, we could even tie or break some record highs as we go in the low to mid 90s. Cold front comes in Sunday, no rain associated with it, unfortunately. And initially, we're still above normal going in the low 80s, but colder weather on the way right behind this cold front. Well, now look at your forecast, talk about the cool down and the news you need to know right after this.
Well, here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Pittsburgh authorities have arrested one person in connection with a hatchet attack at 23rd Street Bike Park Wednesday afternoon. Well, witnesses say a 32-year-old Ashley Marie Wilson struck a 47-year-old woman in the neck with a hatchet following an argument. The victim was found deep in the woods and was taken to the hospital and treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Wilson is being held without bond and facing charges of felony aggravated battery. Well, voters in Pittsburgh had the opportunity to meet with candidates one-on-one yesterday ahead of the election. Those on the ballot running for local and state offices came together for a nonpartisan event hosted by the Pitt State Education Association. Attendees were encouraged to ask candidates questions and learn about their policies.
All right, today another hot one, mid-upper 80s out there. Southwest winds occasionally gusting upwards of 20-25 miles an hour. Late night tonight, the winds will calm down. A few clouds overnight as well and still warm, low 60s. However, that cold front tomorrow does change things up. Sorry, not tomorrow, Sunday. Tomorrow, though, could break some records out there. Low mid-90s, so 20-some-odd degrees above normal. Low 80s on Sunday, upper 60s Monday, mid-60s. Tuesday, overnight lows Monday into Tuesday into the 30s and 40s. Heat back up, cold front next week, bringing us cooler temperatures again by next Sunday and some rain chances.
A little bit of everything there.
Well, yeah, there's a lot going on.
Certainly. Well, a Washington State woman has to flee her property after more than 50 raccoons take over. The video shared by the Kitsap County Sheriff's Office shows the massive group of misfits hanging in the woman's backyard. Oh my gosh.
Officials say around 50 to 100 raccoons were on the property. The woman told police the large group was, acting aggressively.
Like, how do you even attract that many?
What have you done to get that many? Not to mention, they're acting. I'm sorry. Were they armed? Were they trying to break into her house? They're like, listen, lady.
I'm like,
you got
really
quality trash in your kitchen right now.
I'm so scared of raccoons. That is just like horrifying. If that happened to me, oh my gosh, wow.
Oh, well, thanks for sticking with us this morning. We'll be back with more news and weather and fewer raccoons at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.